In this video, I am presenting the vacuum robot Sniffy. Upon receiving a list of coordinates representing rooms that should be vacuumed, Sniffy will calculate the visiting order and path incurring the smallest cost. Here we can watch Sniffy moving from room to room as it follows this optimal path without activating hoovering just yet. Let's speed up this footage a little bit to get a better intuition of what Sniffy is able to do. As you can see, Sniffy is able to drive through doors that are barely wider than itself. For such situations, it will decelerate to avoid collision with any obstacles. At all other times, Sniffy tries to maintain a target velocity. Sniffy combines two driving policies, one for following the path as close as possible, the other to maintain a healthy distance from any obstacles, including walls. This results in a curious behavior where Sniffy moves into door openings as it drives along the wall. This is happening as the obstacle avoidance policy gives way to the path following policy, a harmless behavior to which Sniffy, as it seems to sniff these areas like a dog, owes its name. Looking at the same tour from the Arvis visualization tool, we can see that Sniffy follows its path very closely. Here I've created markers for the goal positions, the violet spheres, as well as for Sniffy itself, which is represented by the two cubes showing the believed and true position. The charging stations are represented by the large red circles. Note also that the room Sniffy is currently visiting is marked with a blue square. We'll look at the charging and vacuum behavior next. Upon reaching a room that requires vacuuming, Sniffy will drive itself to the top left corner of the room and systematically move both horizontally and vertically to vacuum it in an efficient manner. Since Sniffy needs to maneuver close to the walls, it needs to keep some distance to them and thus cannot vacuum the entire floor. It finishes its vacuum tour by moving along the walls before returning to its starting position. Now it can continue on to the next room on its list where it proceeds in the same manner. Returning to Arvis, we can look at the vacuuming behavior more closely. The area vacuumed by Sniffy is highlighted in green. Observe that Sniffy will move just far enough vertically for the vacuum circles to barely overlap. For visualization purposes, I've shown the path Sniffy is following during its vacuuming behavior. Once it finishes and leaves the room, the blue marker will be removed. Next, let's look at the automatic recharging behavior. Before that though, let's briefly look at an example of Sniffy avoiding obstacles that aren't on its map, such as this yellow square. Sniffy will slow down upon moving close to it and then turn away from the obstacle and continue on its path. Once it enters the room, it will try vacuuming it, but soon drop to a dangerously low power level as I've set it artificially low for demonstration purposes. Sniffy constantly monitors the power required to reach the nearest charging station and will now interrupt its behavior to charge itself. For this purpose, it will drive itself to the charging station and juice up. Finally, it will return to its last position to continue whatever it was that it was doing previously. Looking at the same situation in Arvis, we can see that Sniffy has barely begun vacuuming before a charging interrupt is signaled. Note that to refrain from having to charge for as long as possible, Sniffy will turn off its power-hungry vacuuming device as it drives to and from the charging station.